What is up, Flockers? That is my fellow lockers and aspiring lockers. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing 5 things that I no longer do with my Microlocs. So if you're interested in that list, then stick around. Jumping right in is one of the things that if you have done research on Sisterlocks and Microlocs, then it's probably something that you have heard a lot, but it is braid and band. Something that I no longer do with my locks that I did in the very beginning of my journey is braid and band. And I honestly think that this is something that is very specific and particular to each person and their own set of locks and their lock journey. For some people, they may have to braid and band for 6 months. They may have to braid and band for a year or a year and a half. I've even heard of some people with Sisterlocks who braided and banded for 2+ years before they were able to wash their hair without braiding and banding, and that helps them with slippage and bunching and things like that. Now, with the way that my locks are set up and the way that I did them, I have braids, and so I have never had any issues with bunching. I've never had any issues with slippage. In the very beginning of my lock journey, I was afraid of both of those just because you hear so much about it on YouTube University and just in general, people talking about Sisterlocks and Microlocs. So I was very apprehensive and afraid at first, but then after I did a couple of washes, I realized that my locks really weren't sliding around, they really weren't moving or doing anything, and that my 4C hair was holding at the ends really well. So I had no fear of that. And so honestly, I probably about a month into my Braidloc DIY Microloc journey, I stopped braiding and banding, and I have not done it since then, and I am well into over a year of having these Braidlocs on my head, and I do not braid and band, not going back. And like I said, it's individual for each person. So if you're in a place with your locks where they are unraveling or anything like that, you need to braid and band. But if you are like me and you don't need to braid and band, I'm telling you, it is a very freeing thing, because nothing kills the whole passage of freedom, hair freedom, than having to spend 20 minutes before you wash your hair having to braid it up and put rubber bands on the end, and then after that take the rubber bands off and unbraid it. So I literally get in the shower like this, rinse it, and wash it just like this. No braiding and banding for me. The second thing on my list that I do not do with my locks anymore is avoid water. Here's something else that, again, it's per case, per person, because for some people, water may help their locks. For other people, it may hurt their locks and cause some issues with it. So for me personally, my hair and my scalp and my locks love water. My skin loves water. Everything, my whole body loves moisturization. Whether it's from the inside out drinking water, or it's from the outside putting it on into my hair. And so in the very beginning of my lock journey, I listened to some people, and I heard like spraying your hair daily or misting your hair, things like that can dry your hair out, or it's not good for your hair, it's unnecessary. For my hair, it's necessary. Maybe not every single day, but I do pretty much mist my hair and spray it every day. But I make sure to follow up with that with other things. I don't just spray water and then let it evaporate, because I do agree that if you're just spraying water and letting it evaporate, that could potentially cause some drying out of your hair, which kind of leads me into my third thing that I no longer do. The third thing that I no longer do or avoid is avoiding oil. Again, in the very beginning of my journey, I was listening to some people and I was avoiding oil because, some people tell you don't put anything on your Sisterlocks, don't put anything on your Microlocs. All you need is to wash your hair and keep it moving. That don't work for me. That don't work for my scalp. That doesn't work for my skin. I can't just hop in the shower, wash my body, and then get out and not put on lotion. So why would it be any different for my scalp and my hair? It's not. For some people, they can just wash their hair and keep it moving, keep it pushing. But for my hair, my hair and my scalp is not set up like that. I have to put moisture back in. So I do not avoid oil. I use light oils. I make my own DIY oils at home, but I am for sure gonna make sure that I'm putting oil in my hair and on my scalp. I don't put oil on my scalp every day, but I do make sure to do it after wash days, and I do it midweek or as needed, especially in the wintertime and the colder months when I feel like my hair is just drier than usual. All right, going into the fourth thing on my list that I no longer avoid or steer clear of when it comes to my hair and my Microlocs is I do not avoid color. I've had bad experience with color in my locks in the past when I had traditional locks, but that is on me. I'm gonna take that on me because I went in, I bleached the tips of my hair because in my mind I was thinking, I'm doing locks and then I'm shaving it. If I decide to take my locks out one day, I'm shaving my hair, so it doesn't matter if I damage it. So I put bleach on the ends of my locks and I did not care for them. I didn't moisturize my hair. I didn't take care of them. I just went about my business. And because they were locked and everything was, bound together and, they had all their friends next to them, I couldn't tell what was happening with each individual strand, but I didn't wash or rinse all of the bleach out of my hair, and so it was weakening that hair. So then when I did get ready to change my hairstyle up, and I didn't want to just shave my locks off, I wanted to comb my hair out and wear my loose natural hair now that it had gotten long, and lo and behold, I had a bunch of damage to the ends of my hair. So when I did finally comb it out, my ends were brittle, they were breaking off, split ends out the wazoo. It was bad. I lost tons of inches in length simply from me having used color on my locks and not treating my locks the way that I should have after using the color. Well, here we are on this journey, and I have color on my locks, but I was very intentional about making sure that I rinsed the mess out of all that color that came, or that I put on my hair. All of the bleach, I rinsed it, probably longer than I've ever stayed in the shower before, just to make sure that I was rinsing as much of it out as possible. And ever since then, I have paid extra close attention to my ends. I make sure to keep my hair, just in general, moisturized in a way that I had never kept my locks moisturized in the past when I had traditional locks. So I'm no longer afraid of doing color. Now, I'm not saying go out here and dye your locks every other week and make them 50 different colors and bleach them constantly, but I'm just saying, know your hair. Now, if you're the type of person that when you had loose natural hair or, permed hair or whatever, and you would put bleach in it, that your hair was breaking off, it might not be a good idea for you to put bleach in your hair when you have locks. Now, your hair is going to be stronger because you got multiple strands as opposed to each strand fitting for itself. But if you know that you and chemicals just are not friends, and that the moment you put them in your hair is like, then don't do it with locks either. But if you have pretty strong hair and your hair does well with color or bleach, I don't think that it's a bad thing. Now, I'm not saying do it yourself. You may need to go to a professional and have them do it. But just because you have locks, Microloc, Sisterlocks, does not mean that you have to shy away from color or shy away from bleach if it's done well and it's done right, and if you maintain it well afterwards. Now, when I say maintain, I'm not saying that it's going to take you an additional hour or hours to maintain your hair because you have color. But you do want to give it a little extra special attention, give it a little extra oil if you're using oil or leave-in conditioner or something like that, just to make sure that you're keeping those ends that have gone through a chemical process a little bit more love and attention and care. And the fifth thing on my list that I think that I was sold on in the beginning and then I realized it's really not that deep was only washing my hair with a clarifying shampoo. Again, Sisterlock community, Microloc community in the beginning, I feel like there's this talk about only using a clarifying shampoo, and especially if you have Sisterlocks, use the Sisterlock shampoo. And again, do what's right for you. But what was right for me was not just using a clarifying shampoo, because that mug dried out my hair, dried my locks out, had stuff feeling brittle, had stuff feeling like it was about to pop the moment that I, run my fingers through it, all of that stuff. And so when I wised up to what my hair was telling me and what my locks were trying to communicate with me, I realized I don't need a clarifying shampoo every single time I wash. So I have moisturizing shampoos, I use conditioner in my locks, I use leave-in conditioner, but I'm not just using a clarifying shampoo. I'm using clarifying shampoo, and then I'm making sure to put the moisture back in, whether it's with the moisturizing shampoo, with the conditioner, and then my steps after I get out the shower to ensure that my locks are healthy, that they're happy, that they're moisturized, and that they're feeling good. I'm listening to my locks, which I think at the end of the day is the most important thing with all these things on the list, is that you have to know your hair, you have to know your locks, and you have to listen to them and what they're trying to communicate to you. Don't do something that someone else tells you to do. Even me, if your locks are communicating with you something opposite of what I'm telling you, then listen to your locks. Don't listen to what I'm saying. And just the same, if you're doing something and I'm telling you something and you're like, oh, well, I don't know because I've been told not to do that, but my hair's kind of not acting the way that it should be acting, then maybe you do need to listen to some of the things I'm saying and implement it, but at your own risk. So know your locks, listen to your loctician, but listen to yourself, listen to your hair, know what's good for you. Have that open conversation with your loctician too. You don't want to go behind their back and do stuff that they might decide that you went around them, or that you're causing them more work because you're not listening to their advice. So have these open conversations with your loctician. It's supposed to be a communication thing. They're not dictating to you what to do and what not to do. Like, have these open conversations and bring stuff to them. And if you're doing it yourself, then maybe there does need to be a little bit of trial and error. I don't want your stuff falling out and unraveling or anything like that. But, you know, again, listen to your hair, listen to your locks, and make wise decisions according to what you're hearing from your hair. If you found this video helpful at all, then make sure to hit that like button, as it helps the channel and helps me to know what type of content that you all are enjoying. And also hit the subscribe button. I almost hit the like button again. Hit the subscribe button so that you can join the flock. And before you go anywhere, check out some of the other videos that have popped up. I'll see you there.